Matapalo Tree behind us, one of the most famous trees of Costa Rica and full of folklore. The story has it that there's a witch that lives inside the Matapalo, and she comes out at night. And if you don't have a pure heart or an authentic soul, she might take your spirit. And since here we are at Agape Costa Rica and SallyRicePsychic.com, I wanted to share with you one of my ghost stories because they're fun. Back in the 80s, that was a long time ago. So while I was living in Italy, I rented this house. Actually, it wasn't a house, it was a castle from the 9th century. And I lived there with some roommates, okay? And one night about 11 o'clock at night, my roommates and I heard this piano playing. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, what is that piano? And ignored it, carried on, did our homework, went to bed. Next night, same thing. This piano always coming out at night. So it was all right for a few days, but after a while I thought, well, this is kind of annoying. I probably want to tell the landlady, you know, who's ever playing, could they just keep it down and maybe just not play at midnight? So I went over to talk to the landlady who lived next door. Now, this castle that we lived in had 3 bedrooms on the lower level, but there was a staircase that led up to this tower, and that was where the music was coming from. And we didn't have access to that tower because it wasn't part of our rental. It was actually just adjacent to us, but still in the same castle. And I went to tell the landlady about it. I said, you know, I'm so sorry, but there's somebody who keeps playing the piano and it just is keeping us from sleeping. And do you think you could just ask them to just keep it down? And as soon as I said that, her face turned white. She was, oh my goodness gracious. And she told us that well, it was an attic actually, where the sound was coming from, had belonged to her mother when her mother was alive, and she was a concert pianist, and she had her piano up there, but it had been locked for decades and no one had been up there. So clearly the spirit of this woman came back, and once we had identified it, we just enjoyed the music. It was her mother. She had passed away many, many years before. Her piano was up there, and that was what we were hearing. So we weren't afraid, because how can you be afraid of a piano playing? But anyway, that was a definite, wonderful, haunting experience with witnesses, one of many. And that's just a little bit of background for you guys to experience here at Agape Costa Rica.